on World News Tonight. Appeal rejected. Imran Khan's hopes to see the light of day denied by Pakistani courts, with the allowance of bail also seemingly unlikely. Scathing accusations. Making his way back to his parliament seat, Indian opposition leader Rahul Gandhi attacks Prime Minister Modi on the Manipur conflict. Maui engulfed. Hawaii suffers catastrophic damages with rapid wildfires burning historic towns to the ground. And the Queen of Sileteros. Medellin's vibrant flower arrangement contest sees a new winner embodying their message of hope.
This is Derana World News Tonight. Reporting from Colombo, here is Anuradhi Vikramasinghe.
A very good evening, and you are watching World News. We have an expansive coverage for you tonight, starting off in Pakistan, where once a celebrated cricketer is now behind bars on corruption charges. Imran Khan's appeal seeking conviction on corruption charges be suspended was struck down by a Pakistani High Court, making the former Pakistani Prime Minister's release on bail unlikely.
A Pakistani High Court turned down an appeal by jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan that his conviction on corruption charges be suspended on Wednesday. That's according to his lawyer, who suggested it was unlikely he would be released on bail anytime soon. 70-year-old Khan has been at the centre of political turmoil since he was ousted last year as Prime Minister in a no-confidence vote. It's raised concerns about Pakistan's stability as it grapples with an economic crisis. He's been barred from holding any public office for 5 years since he commenced a 3-year prison sentence on Saturday on charges of unlawfully selling state gifts acquired by him and his family. The charges relate to his 2018 to 2022 tenure as Prime Minister. His lawyer said the court asked the concerned authorities to respond to Khan's plea to be moved to an A-class jail cell with better facilities in a prison in Rawalpindi. Khan, who's denied any wrongdoing, was arrested at his Lahore house and is currently in a prison near Islamabad. His lawyer added that the case was adjourned for an indefinite time. It comes as Pakistan's Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, who replaced Khan after his ousting, said he would advise the president to dissolve parliament late on Wednesday, setting the stage for a national election.
And now crossing over to India, as the country's opposition leader Rahul Gandhi has condemned Prime Minister Narendra Modi's inaction over deadly ethnic conflict in the northeast in his first parliamentary speech since his defamation conviction was suspended. Gandhi's fiery address to Parliament was part of a no-confidence debate demanding the government's resignation for letting the unrest spread in Manipur state for months. Gandhi said Modi is throwing kerosene on the whole country and that he threw kerosene in Manipur and lit a spark, and his supporters cheered and rival lawmakers jeered. In a defiant statement, Gandhi accuses Modi of burning the whole country and killing Mother India. Gandhi delivered the address after months of violence in Manipur, in which at least 150 people have been killed, many hundreds more wounded, and tens of thousands rendered homeless since May. Until last month, Modi had failed to publicly address the violence in a state controlled by his only Hindu nationalist party, Janata Party. Soldiers have been rushed in from other parts of India to contain the violence in Manipur, and the curfew and internet shutdown remain in force across most of the state. The clashes erupted over the BJP state government potentially extending special benefits to the mostly Hindu ethnic majority Meiteis. Those benefits have been reserved for Manipur's minority Kuki people, who are mostly Christian. The state government denies accusations by the Kukis and political rivals that it failed to act more forcefully to quell the trouble. The BJP is regularly accused by opponents of fomenting divisions of electoral purposes, and India will hold a general election early next year. Government Minister Smriti Irani refuted Gandhi's allegations, saying the party was always ready to discuss the Manipur issue in Parliament. Gandhi was restored as a Member of Parliament after the Supreme Court last week suspended his defamation conviction over comments criticising Modi. Over in Hawaii, calamity has struck in Maui, where wildfires spread fast and arrived without warning. 6 people have died and more have been injured, and thousands are without power or cell phone service due to fires that are being fueled by winds from a nearby hurricane in the Pacific Ocean.
Thick clouds of smoke billowing above the popular tourist town of Lahaina as wildfires sweep through parts of the Hawaiian island of Maui, forcing residents and tourists to flee.
We started to get into Lahaina, and we just saw a huge cloud of smoke, and our tour guide, he didn't know what to do. We are here at the airport with a flight tonight with no stuff.
I work on the Scotch Mist 2 sailing charter. I was the last one off the dock when the firestorm came through the banyan tree and took everything with it. And I just ran out to the beach and I ran south and I just helped everybody I could along the way.
Fueled by the winds of a hurricane hundreds of kilometres offshore, the fires have killed several people and have caused extensive damage on the island. At least 5 evacuation shelters have been opened by the state, and firefighting helicopters have been sent to the area.
We did get support from the active duty military, providing helicopters to Hawaii County. And then I sent 2 helicopters over to Maui to do water bucket fire suppression missions, and an additional guardsman to assist with search and rescue, traffic control, and security.
Hawaii is not alone in grappling with wildfires. Blazes caused by record temperatures this summer prompted tens of thousands to be evacuated in Spain, Greece, and other parts of Europe. According to scientists, human-caused climate change is making such extreme weather events more frequent and more intense.
In Russia now, at least 1 person has been killed and at least 57 are wounded in a massive blast at a Russian military optics plant less than 80 kilometers from Moscow. Rescue teams are searching through the rubble over concerns some may still be trapped. The plant is responsible for manufacturing optical devices for the Russian military. The cause of the explosion is still unclear and a criminal investigation has been opened.
Tonight, a massive explosion ripping through a military plant outside Moscow. A huge smoke cloud rising above the site. These dramatic images captured in videos circulating online. The plant makes equipment for the Russian military as well as other industries. Surrounding houses and windows shattered. 60 were injured and at least 8 missing, 1 person later dying in the hospital. The official explanation that this was a fireworks site that exploded. But a retired military explosives expert telling while it could be fireworks, it seems unlikely. And this video circulating online showing what appears to be a military shell nearby.
Meanwhile, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has called for ramped-up efforts for war preparations in an apparent move to keep things rocky on the peninsula ahead of South Korea-US joint military drills later this month.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has called on his regime to prepare for a possible war in an offensive manner. According to North Korea's Korean Central News Agency on Thursday, the statement was made at an enlarged meeting of the Central Military Commission of the ruling Workers' Party of Korea on Wednesday. During the meeting, Kim stressed the importance of a strong army to carry out the party's Central Committee's military strategy, while also calling on the regime to secure more powerful strike means for carrying out the mission of war deterrence and intensifying the work for deploying them in the units for action in a mobile way. During the meeting, Kim also replaced his top general Park Soo-il with Lee Young-gil, who was previously appointed as a vice chairman of the Central Military Commission in January 2023. The KCNA also mentioned other items discussed at the meeting. They include talks on a military parade on September 9th to mark the regime's 75th founding anniversary, also known as the Day of the Foundation of the Republic. It could also mark an opportunity for Kim Jong-un to showcase the North's military weapons amid the growing tensions on the Korean peninsula. Wednesday's meeting came as South Korea and the United States plan to hold their annual Urchi Freedom Shield exercise later this month.
Let's go for a short commercial break. More world news on the other side. On tonight's Road to the White House, we turn to the Republican nominees who are racing towards the White House. As Donald Trump faces mounting legal troubles, his campaign for the Republican nomination is doing just fine. It's his Republican rivals who are struggling.
For former Vice President Mike Pence, just qualifying for the first Republican debate was a challenge. But he says he has now met the RNC's requirements and will be there when the candidates face off 2 weeks from today.
We're going to be taking the opportunity to really draw the contrast between myself, other candidates on the stage, and I'm looking forward to being there. I'm counting the days.
Less clear is whether the Republican frontrunner will bother to show up.
Okay, you ready? Poll. We take a free poll. Should I do the debate?
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has already begun debate prep sessions and even hired a debate coach. DeSantis had been considered Trump's most formidable Republican challenger, once nearly tied for the lead. But in the latest 538 average of polls, he now trails Trump by nearly 40 points. And now DeSantis has hired a new campaign manager, 35-year-old James Utmeyer, who has worked with him in the governor's office but has never run a campaign. It's DeSantis' third staff shakeup in a month.
Look, at the end of the day, I'm the leader. You put out a commander's intent and you delegate for people to do it. Then you evaluate. And if it's not up to what you want, then you just make adjustments.
Along with this, the FBI says a Utah man was fatally shot as agents tried to arrest him in connection with threats against President Biden and other Democrats. The criminal complaint listing is alleged violent social media posts and online suggestions that he planned to take action. The FBI moved on to arrest him just hours before the president arrived in Utah.
Tonight, just hours before President Biden's arrival in Utah, the FBI says a Provo man was fatally shot as agents tried to arrest him for threatening to assassinate the president. Authorities say 75-year-old Craig Robertson made credible threats, posting to social media just 3 days ago. "I hear Biden is coming to Utah, digging out my old ghillie suit and cleaning the dust off the M24 sniper rifle. Welcome, buffoon-in-chief." A federal complaint revealing dozens of Robertson's posts, including pictures of an arsenal of weapons, images of Robertson dressed in camouflage clothing, armed with a long-range rifle, and multiple references to killing the president. The FBI says its investigation also uncovered threats against law enforcement and other public officials, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Attorney General Merrick Garland, and California Governor Gavin Newsom. After a months-long investigation, the FBI moving in early this morning.
Now, the Panama Canal is becoming the new face of climate change as drought is restricting the trade route. Open since 1914, the Panama Canal links the Atlantic with the Pacific Ocean. Lowering water levels are threatening the canal.
The Panama Canal is directly threatened by climate change. The 82-kilometre trade route, which links the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, has seen its water drop to unprecedented levels. This photo shows the surrounding zone of the canal 10 years ago, and these were the conditions just a few months ago. Meteorologists say the El Niño phenomenon in Central America is causing more and more heat waves and droughts, affecting the canal, which relies on water from two nearby lakes to get ships across. Each vessel requires 200 million litres of water, but with the droughts, the number of ships transiting has been cut down from 40 to 32 per day. The Panama Canal administrator says 2023 is the driest year on record, issuing a warning on the effects it could have on maritime traffic.
We have to find solutions in order to remain a relevant route for servicing international trade. If we don't adapt, then we're going to perish.
The Panama Canal supports 6% of the world trade, but the conditions could push ships to find new routes like south of Latin America or via the Arctic in the summer. Experts warn certain supply chains could also be disrupted, such as coffee, biscuits, and chocolate.
We will see repercussions in global supply chains. These will differ. Dry bulk products like coal, iron ore, or oil, they will not be affected because they can probably be rerouted. When it comes to fresh produce, which are particularly important also for Europe, then we will have significant impacts. They will also have to pay the additional price for being shipped through the canal.
If droughts persist, the Panama Canal could be forced to continue limiting daily transits, losing up to 200 million euros of revenue by 2024.
Now, war-torn Sudan is at risk of major disease outbreaks, with thousands of unburied corpses remaining out in the open and the country's health and sanitization infrastructure destroyed.
The bodies of fallen soldiers litter the streets of this Khartoum suburb, evidence of the fierce battles of recent days. The Sudanese army is ramping up its offensive in its attempts to regain control of the capital, largely held by the Rapid Support Forces. Several neighbourhoods targeted by airstrikes and shelling have been evacuated. Civilians are facing a dire situation The vast majority of hospitals across the country are not operational and medicine is scarce.
We've lost the medication supply chain, so the medicines you see on the shelves are the entire stock. In fact, almost all daily medicines are in short supply.
The UN says 4 million people have been forced from their homes since the conflict began in April. These families from the Darfur region, another major site of fighting, are fleeing groups linked to the Rapid Support Forces.
We've lost everything. They left us with nothing. It doesn't matter if you're man or woman, they just kill everyone.
They're making their way to the western border in the hopes of crossing to safety in neighbouring Chad, joining hundreds of thousands of Sudanese refugees already in the camps there. But while they might be safe from violence, they're fleeing to uncertainty.
The situation is deteriorating in terms of food security, in terms of the economic deterioration, and also from malnutrition perspective.
Refugee agencies are trying to move people away from the border areas, but Chad is already struggling with its own humanitarian crisis. A third of the population needs assistance.
Welcome back for more news. Let's take you around the world in a minute. Indonesia's capital Jakarta topped the list as the world's most polluted city, having consistently ranked among the 10 most polluted cities globally since May, according to data by Swiss air quality technology company IQ Air. Hollywood writers marked 100 days of striking, with contract talks stalled and people on the picket lines protesting what they describe as a disregard for their demands. Britain's Royal Mint has released special edition 50p coins to mark King Charles's coronation. Charles appears uncrowned on the coin, in keeping with tradition that only female monarchs appear wearing crowns. Outraged Ecuadorians protested outside the clinic where presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio died after being shot at a campaign rally in Quito. Some 30 shots have been fired, while video posted on social media showed Villavicencio getting into a car after the event before the sound of apparent gunfire and screaming. The Red Cross reported that 41 migrants have been killed in a shipwreck off the island of Lampedusa in Italy. 3 children were among the dead. 4 people, 3 men and a woman from the Ivory Coast and Guinea were rescued from the metal boat which set off from Sfax in Tunisia. And that is all we have for you on World News Tonight. If you missed any of today's programs, you can always rewatch by catching us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/AtherDerana-English. The streets of Colombia are where we leave you tonight, as a woman Silitera was crowned the winner of Medellín's annual Flower Festival Parade. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.